Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. With reference to Committee of Privileges, which of the following statements are incorrect? The functions of the committee are semi-judicial in nature. In Lok Sabha, it has 15 members. In Rajya Sabha, it has 10. Which of the statements are incorrect? Since it is asking for the incorrect statement, the answer to this is none. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in this article. What is this Committee of Privileges? We have the parliament, we also have the legislative assemblies as well. The MLAs and MPs are elected in their respective houses. After they are elected, what they have is the privileges and immunity so that they can function independently in the parliament as well as legislative assembly. Let they have to vote in the parliament, or they have to discuss one of the critical issues in the parliament. To act independently, what they are given is some privileges and immunities for the effective and independent functioning when it comes to the parliament or the legislative assembly. But what if these privileges are misused? What if these privileges are breached by the parliamentarians? In that particular case, the speaker will refer this particular case of breach of the privilege to one of the committees, and that is what is called as the Committee of Privilege. So the minute the speaker or the house refers it to this particular committee, the committee will investigate whether this is the breach or not. If this is the breach of privilege that has taken place, then a recommendation will be made by the Committee of Privileges, and ultimately suitable actions will be initiated by this particular house. So what exactly happens when it comes to this Committee of Privileges? The committee has 15 members in the Lok Sabha and it also has 10 members in the Rajya Sabha. Since the committee is making recommendations for suitable actions to be initiated by the house, it is also having semi-judicial capacity as well. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statement. Jamdani weaving tradition is of Bengali origin. Uppada Jamdani silk saree from Telangana has been accorded GI tag. Which of the above statements is or correct? The answer to this is one only. Why? That is because when you look into the second statement, Uppada Jamdani silk saree is not from Telangana, but instead it is from Andhra Pradesh. Since it is from Andhra Pradesh, the second statement is wrong. But yes, the Uppada Jamdani silk saree has been accorded the GI tag. Since the second statement is wrong, the answer to this is one only. Now, when we look into this Jamdani, what is it? It is a hand woven fabric which is made out of cotton. Traditionally, it was given a name called as muslin. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the Hindu article. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following pairs. We have the virus on one side, the illness that it spreads on the other side. Coronaviruses causes SARS, Toga viruses, Nipah, paramoxyviruses, chikungunya, filoviruses, Ebola. Which of the above pair are correctly matched? The answer to this is 1 and 4 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in this article. So what we have is few viruses which cause a particular type of illness or the disease. When we look into the coronavirus, they are a family of viruses. They can cause multiple types of illnesses. Let's say for example the common cold, or let's say for example the severe acute respiratory syndrome or the Middle East respiratory syndrome. These are caused by the coronaviruses. Then we have the filoviruses. These filoviruses were for the first time discovered in the year 1967. The viruses refers to any set of virus that belongs to a particular family of viruses called as filoviridae. These viruses cause heavy hemorrhagic fever in humans. So what does it cause? It causes Ebola when it comes to this virus. Then what we have is Togo virus. These are important veterinary pathogens. They are usually transmitted by the mosquitoes, and the example of Togo virus happens to be chikungunya. Finally, what we have is paroxyviruses, and they cause Nipah. So kindly remember the viruses and the illness they cause when it comes to the spread of a particular disease. Now let's look into the next practice question. Dudhwa Tiger Reserve is in the state of, is it Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh? The answer to this is Uttar Pradesh. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in this article. When we look into the location of Dudhwa Tiger Reserve, it is along the border area of India and Nepal. We have the important rivers like Suheli and the Mohana streams which flow through this Dudhwa Tiger Reserve. Now let's look into the next practice question. Why is offering teaser loans by commercial banks a cause of economic concern? The teaser loans are considered to be an aspect of subprime lending and the banks may be exposed to the risk of defaulters in the future. In India, the teaser loans are mostly given to the inexperienced entrepreneurs to set up manufacturing or export units. Which of the above statements are correct? The answer to this is A only. When you look into the second statement, these teaser loans are not given to the inexperienced entrepreneurs, but they are given as personal loans, they are given as home loans, and they are also given as car loans as well. So when it comes to this particular teaser loans, they are mostly given to the personal loans, car loans as well as home loans. What are these teaser loans? We have the banking channel, we also have an individual. When the bank provides its assets, that is the loans to the individuals initially at a lower rate of interest for the first few years, but eventually goes on to increase the rate of interest, that is what is called as teaser loans. So initially when it is giving loan to an individual, it will be very low, but after a considerable period of time it gets on a higher quotient, that is what is called as teaser loans. This happens to be a previous year question from the year 2011. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is election petition. What is this election petition? Let's look into the context. We have the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, who had contested from one of the constituencies called as Nandigram. She did contest from this particular constituency and went on to lose from this particular constituency. Now she's filed a petition in the Calcutta High Court questioning the results from this particular constituency. So what is the election petition? Let's say there is a candidate who had contested from one of the constituencies, or there is a voter from that particular constituency. They sense there is a discrepancy in the result of that particular constituency, so they file a petition in the High Court of relevant state. That is what is called as election petition. So what happens? The candidate who might have lost, or any candidate who feels that there were malpractices in that particular constituency, or the voter in that particular constituency questions the result in that constituency by filing a petition in the High Court of a relevant state. That is what is called as election petition. So who can file an election petition? An election petition can be filed by a candidate or a voter in that concerned constituency. Now you might ask me a question. Let's say I am a person who is not voted in that particular elections. Am I eligible to contest in this petition? Yes, I can do that. Even if I have not participated, even if I am not voted in the earlier elections, but if I am the voter in that constituency, I feel there has been malpractices in this particular election, I can still file the election petition in the High Court of that relevant domain. Where can an election petition be filed? That is in the High Court of that particular constituency. On what grounds can an election petition be filed? This can be filed when the winning candidate was not qualified to contest. Now when it comes to the Nandigram constituency, we have one of the candidates who has won this particular constituency. But if there is a question about the eligibility of this particular candidate, that is when an election petition can be filed, or the opposition or the voters in that particular constituency feel that there have been corrupt practices that have been involved. Even in such a case, election petition can be filed as well. Or when the candidate is making a nomination, if this particular nomination is not as per the prescribed standard, that is when it can also be filed as well. Or the candidate's nomination has been rejected by the election commission, even that can be filed as well. Malpractices in the counting process, or non-compliance with the provisions of the constitution, or the Representations of the People's Act. In such a case as well, the candidate or the voter from that particular constituency can file an election petition in the High Court of that particular state. What happens if the court finds out that the person who's won the election has won it via the malpractice? That is when the court decides on what the petitioner wants from this particular case. It can be declared as void, it can declare some other candidate as won in this particular elections. So it depends on what the petitioner is asking in that particular petition. Now the question is, has there been any example in the past where the election results were declared void by the High Court in the states in India? One such example is of the former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. This was declared by the Allahabad High Court, where the court set aside Indira Gandhi's election from Raebareli constituency on the grounds of corrupt practices. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this election petition. This is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.